All right, ready, go. Hey, Mike. Another fine evening. Another fine night.
Sick. Very sick.
You're sick.
I am.
What's
I'm
wrong
sick.
with you, man? You're like
Dude, I
dying or
don't
something
know.
here.
I'm like I
I'm gonna
got
put
like
this in.
I got the lungitis or something, dude. But
Lungitis. Hey, that reminds me of some words. You got a word for us tonight?
yeah, I got a word for you.
Okay.
And I know you're not going to get this, but it's just too fucking funny. All right,
Okay.
because the reason I found this, I totally forgot about it when I just said I was going to look for one, and
Okay.
a cousin of my wife's put this on Facebook. Okay, so he
All right.
he has used this. All right, so I'm gonna read it how he said it. First of all, he said, "Happy birthday to one of my best friends, the infamous Mr. Roop. My hashtag Duff. Love you, bro." So, do you know what a Duff is, Peter?
Duff. What do I know? A Duff. A Duff. Now, I'm assuming it has nothing to do with The Simpsons.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with The Simpsons.
Put it back in context again. What did he say?
He said, "Happy birthday to my Duff." As a matter of fact, hold on, real quick here. I'm actually gonna screenshot this if I can find the right freaking thing to share.
Oops.
Okay.
I'll put it on my big screen here.
So here you go.
To my
God
Duff.
darn it!
What are you doing to me, man?
There we go. There we go. All right. So
right.
that's his Duff. Okay.
That's his Duff.
I mean, I can't make it any more. You know, the context clue in this, and anyone who's listening on audio, you see cousin Jesse. He's got his hand around this guy Roop, and he's bald, and he's he's a little bit larger, but other than that, I mean, one could say he may be the lesser attractive of the two, and that's the only
Duff.
real clue I could give you there.
Oh man. Is it an acronym? Is it
Yes,
an
it
acronym?
is. It is an acronym.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So it's dirty, ugly, fat fucker. I don't know.
I'll hold on. You know what? You're so close. I will give you the D. It's designated.
Okay. Designated ugly fat friend.
I'm
I'm good at this game.
You are. All right, here we go. Running the show.
Is the music going?
The music is going. Go. God damn it. Stop asking.
This show is not safe for work, if you hadn't already guessed. If you are around sensitive ears, this is your only warning, which is about 3,500 seconds too late, because it's time for the MythWits, the show dedicated to all things geek pop culture, drenched in absurdity and coated with sarcasm. Every week, we bring you the news and interviews from the Geekoverse. We do our damnedest to be funny. Oh, man, but there are no guarantees. I'm your host, Peter Bryant. Joining me this week is my mole-like appendage, Mike Kafis.
I'm your Duff, buddy. Come on, just say it.
Tonight, our guest is writer and musician Phil Rossi. Phil, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hey, it's good to be on the show, guys.
Yeah.
It's
Welcome,
a little while
Phil.
since I've put my face out in the potosphere, so it's good to be here.
Well, it's good to have you back in the world here, because you took a bit of a break there for a while.
So, yeah, quite a few years actually, but I'm kind of back at it, and people should really start hearing things from me pretty soon.
Good. All right, so, if you all don't know, Phil Rossi is a musician, producer, writer, and voice actor. He fronts the Washington, D.C.-based industrial groove machine Gravity Lens, and also enjoys a healthy solo artist career, playing acoustic at pubs and vineyards all over the DC metro area. He has been deeply involved with fiction, writing, blogging, and new media since he released his first podcast in 2006. In 2007, Phil released his debut Amazon best-selling novel, Crescent, in 2007, which is a fucking fantastic book. Fantastic book.
Thank you.
So, Mike, if you could cue image one. So those listening to the podcast version of the show, Mike pulled up the image of the cover of Phil's big first book, Crescent, which right, that's your breakout book.
That was my breakout. Yeah, that was my breakout.
So how did how did Crescent come about? I mean, how did you come up with that idea? Was that something that had been burning in you for a while? Was that something that just kind of struck you? Or?
It was more something that just struck me. I had been getting into the world of podcasts around 2005 or so. Was doing a podcast called Filling the Page, which is sort of a creative podcast. But I was listening to things like Earthcore, for example, right. Scott Sigler and Murray V.T. Morris and some of the other books out there, and said, I would love to serialize something. I wasn't really thinking in terms of serializing a full novel, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a weekly story, right? And that's how Crescent began. And within a couple weeks of writing this thing, I said, holy shit, this might actually be a full-length novel. And I just went for it. And, but it was all, Crescent was definitely very much from the hip. It just kind of flowed. It had a life of its own. I was very much along for the ride. There wasn't a ton of planning associated with the writing. I certainly had to do some cleaning up in the editing phase, but right. It was fast and furious. I think that first draft happened in about 3 months.
Holy shit. Okay. Yeah. That's it's such a good book, and the podcast is fucking phenomenal. I mean, the quality on your voice recording and the voices you do, but not only that, but something you don't see a lot of today. And I think just because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going to make an assumption here that, when new authors write their first, do their first podcast, like their first, like full on production podcast, they'll put music to it and do sound effects and everything. And then after they're done, they're just like, I can't keep that pace.
It's grueling, man. It is brutal. Yeah, it's brutal. I put a ton of time into Crescent. It was definitely probably the most full of my productions. I really went for it, and I was very anal about it. I probably would listen to a single episode, 3 or 4 times to tweak everything to kind of satisfy my perfectionism. Right. These days, I don't know if I have 4 hours just to devote to listening to one episode over and over again. But right. You learn a lot from the process too. I think after so many years of doing the podcast thing, doing the music thing, and now doing the voice acting thing, for my next effort, which I'm currently writing, I want to bring again a similar level of production to it as I had with Crescent. But I've learned a lot in terms of workflow, in terms of efficiency. So I think I could pull off something similar without, dying before it's actually completed.
Yeah, because you did like a Crescent soundtrack, right? You have a soundtrack for that.
Yeah. There was even a full soundtrack that I did with that guy. I have no idea how, but amphetamines, maybe, I don't know. Right
now, let me ask you this: was it before you had kids?
Yeah, I think I finished up maybe a month or 2 before my firstborn came around.
Just under the wire.
Yeah, it's funny though. It made it. I still, I don't sleep much. I never have. I probably will someday. But even 8 years after she was born, I still have the same sleep requirements. I'm just engaged in a lot more projects at this stage. A lot of my work I do after 9 o'clock anyway, regardless of if there were kids in the picture or not. That switch just doesn't flip 100%, at least in terms of production work, until after the sun has been down for a while.
Yeah,
that makes any sense at all.
Oh no, it totally does. It totally does. That's how that's pretty much how I work. I always said if I could work for myself, being a creative, I do creative stuff, but I can't make a living off of it. If I could make a living off of it, my hours would probably be from 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
That would work.
Yes, I agree. But instead, you're probably like me, and you're working on this stuff from 9 o'clock until 3 in the morning, and then you're getting up at 6 or 7, and then living the standard 9 to 5 life, and
yes,
it catches up to you. I don't necessarily work late every single night anymore. I'm a lot more strategic about it, and in terms of writing, actually getting words down on the page. Some of that I tend to do, before the day starts. I'll still get up before everyone's up to my head, okay, it's still the middle of the night, but I still got a few hours of sleep in it. So yeah, it's just you gotta be flexible, really.
Yeah, I don't know
how old are you, Phil? Well, hold on,
Phil,
hold on. How old are you, Phil?
What? Yeah, how old are you?
37.
Okay, because like I'm hitting 44, and I've started to notice now because I've always been like that too. Just I can get 4 hours of sleep and plow through, and I'm starting to notice now like, oh God, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Phil, you got
to a lot less.
you got to your mid 40s because Mike, right there with you, man. I'm starting to slow down, and it's killing me because I'm just like, if I go to bed now at like 1 o'clock in the morning and get up at 6, I'm like, fuck me, I'm hurting. like not like before. Like before, I'd be like, oh, I'm really tired. Now I get up, I'm just like, Jesus, I can't do this.
Well, I'll tell you what I can do. I can maybe get a day or two in till maybe 1 or 2 is pushing it. If I do a third day until 1 or 2, I am done for like 2 or 3 days afterwards. I'm talking like Walking Dead, comatose, speaking in tongues. It's ugly. It's scary for those around me.
And then they're driving home from work, and you're like nodding off. And you're like, oh shit, this isn't good.
Yeah.
So tell us about Crescent. I mean, I obviously know about it. I've listened to it. I listened to it as an audio cast twice. I bought the book. I never read it, but I have it. But tell us about Crescent. I mean, like, for our audience.
Let's see. So, according to the back of the book, it's been a while, but Crescent is sort of a frontier, what I like to call frontier science fiction horror mashup, right? So it's got elements of, if you're familiar with the series Firefly, some of that going on there, with this sort of just the edge of the colonized space mentality. Crescent is this outpost for the frontier. So basically it's the last stop, and everyone kind of set up shop there. It's a mix of humanity, basically. But Crescent also has this mysterious past. No one is 100% sure who built Crescent or why they built Crescent or how it got out there in the first place. There are parts of the station that have been inaccessible since the new folks arrived, maybe hundreds of years, a couple hundred years maybe before the novel began. And that kind of sets the stage, and it follows this guy, Gerald Evans, who is a salvage pilot looking to make a buck, gets in with the wrong crowd, trying to make easy money, basically. And it's sort of his tale of trying to untangle himself from the mess, just that the evil nature of humans can bring to the table, and then also getting tangled in whatever is going on with this station in terms of a supernatural element. And then it's just it's a roller coaster ride. In the end, I wasn't trying to create something that was deeply, a deep piece of literature. I'm certain there's certainly some overriding themes to it, but really, I wanted to write a book that was entertaining for me to write, and that was going to be entertaining for someone to read or listen to. I think we have a lot of drama in our personal lives, a lot of drama in the world around us. So I didn't want to, hit someone over the head with more drama, right? I wanted to say, hey, we all need an escape, and writing this book was an escape for me. Hopefully, reading or listening to it's going to be an escape for you. If
get that
out of it, then mission accomplished.
I kind of hearkened it to like, all right, so you had mentioned in the guest doc that that you're digging on the book oh crap, The Expanse.
Oh man,
so I never read the book. I watched the show, right? I watched the first season.
I'm behind.
Fucking awesome.
And
that's what Crescent is more, seems to me, less. I mean, it's kind of like Firefly with the frontiersman, but more like The Expanse in feel. The way that it feels. But then you throw in a tiny bit of like Stephen King into that, or H.P. Lovecraft on top of that. Just a tiny bit of that, and some gangster shit, and then and
the gangster shit. That's right. Yeah. Well, it's funny, I discovered The Expanse. I had no idea Sci-Fi was doing a series. I was looking through titles on Audible because as much as I love a good paper book, I also love to have something going in my ears too. And read the description, like, this sounds good. It came up and like, you might like if you like this kind of thing. And I've just been eating that shit up, and it's been inspiring too, because it's really kind of pulled me back toward the sci-fi world. And I said, after the last full novel I finished, which is on the shelf, collecting dust right now, waiting for an edit, was more, just straight horror, suburban horror, I guess you would call it. But I feel like my heart is really in the sci-fi thing. And I love mashing up horror with the science fiction, but I'm always drawn to it. And I think I tried, which is one of the reasons why I took a hiatus. I was starting to write what I think people wanted to read, rather than write the kind of things that made me feel fucking alive as a human being. And that was an escape hatch for me. And I took a ton of time off. I dabbled in short fiction. I did a lot of reading. Spent a lot of time, really thinking about things and trying to keep my tool set sharp, right? But I didn't want to commit to anything. Right. Part of that is if you get out of it for a little while, it's a fear of commitment. You don't want to start another project and have it just be another project that you don't finish. And that's a message I kind of want to get out there too, as I start getting back into getting stuff out there. Is I was going hot and heavy for quite a few years there, and I had a fair amount of success doing this, and then I just kind of stumbled on that success, and it can happen. But what can also happen is you can re-examine what you're doing, why you're doing it, and figure out what made you fall in love with it in the first place. And if you get back to that and start doing it for that reason, then none of that other crap matters.
That's
true.
Man,
I feel that. Absolutely. I've been doing podcasting now for quite a number of years, and I put all my game design stuff on the back burner because I was like, I'm loving the podcasting, but I got the bug this last couple months. And so while I'm still going to podcast the stuff I'm doing, I'm going to try and delegate a little bit better so I can start getting back into some of my game design, because I found, I was like, fuck, man, I missed the game design. I haven't done any in so long, and I just like...
Yeah. Well, and they say you can't do it all, and I think that's true to a degree. You can't do it all, but you can do more than one thing if you're smart about it. And certainly that's what I'm trying to do here. 2016 is going to be my year of saying, hey, I've got two kids and a wife and a house and a job, but goddamn, I'm gonna do the things that make me really feel alive creatively. So I'm gonna do the music thing. I'm gonna do the voice acting thing. I'm gonna write. And I'll be damned if I don't podcast in 2016.
That's good. So yeah, let's talk about that. So you've got some new writing that you started up. And I know it's your podcast started back up again with you've got 2 episodes out so far, and I listened to both of them. I listened to Roadkill and Silken Old Tree.
That's I think that was last year. Yeah. Those are from last year. Yeah.
But those, it was like the end of last year, right? Those are the last 2 that you did.
Yeah. So that's, again, this is the short fiction thing, right? Yeah.
That Silken Old Tree was that was pretty fucking creepy, man.
Yeah, it was inspired by the apartment that we moved out of last summer. Some weird shit happened in that apartment. We were convinced that we were not alone in that place, and some weird things happened when my wife was there without me that we can't explain. And there's some weird shit that happened, when we were there together, and it just had that vibe, that like it's dark, and you walk into the living room, and you feel like you're about to see something, or something's about to show itself, and your hair stands up on the back of your neck, and it's like there's like electricity in the air for a heartbeat. And that was that place, and that really had an impact on me, and so I channeled that vibe with that story.
It's good inspiration.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I figured, and my litmus test for things that I write that are the scarier genres. If I'm not creeped out myself, then I'm not doing it right. There've been many times where in the new house, my studio's in the downstairs, and I'll have like finished a chapter, and I gauge how successful I was by how fast I get from the basement back to the top floor.
Right.
I'm still like an 8-year-old. I sprint my ass out of that dark basement when I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, that thing got me because like there was I don't want to spoil the story for anyone who might listen to it, but there is a scene where the protagonist is in his living room and he's with one of his daughters and he can't find his wife or his other daughter. And I had to stop listening to it at that point because I got to work and I had to get out of my car.
Oh,
and I was like, fuck, because that was like a terrible part to be cliffhanged at, or cliff hung. So I went into work and I was like, shit, man, that was fuck. What's gonna happen? I mean, you know where it is, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody else. But it was just like that's where I was, and I was like, this sucks. I mean, like a few minutes before, like maybe 5 minutes before this would have been better.
To stop.
Right. So I went into work and I was like, fuck. So I got my car and drove home. I was like, I think it was only like 10 minutes left of the story after that. Yeah. And I finished it up and I was like, oh, okay. Whew. But it was a good story.
Good. Yeah, I enjoy the short fiction. Short fiction is good. It's good exercise, definitely, for making sure you can keep your ideas relatively focused, and then you're kind of there's the tighter parameters. Yeah,
right. And then, but now you're doing this other thing. Now, I tried to listen to Edict Zero, okay, but that doesn't seem to be a podcast that you can just kind of jump in and listen to 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah, you gotta kind of start at the beginning. Yes.
You do, because I was listening to the episode. I'm like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. I was completely lost. I was like, I need to go back and start listening to this from the beginning but the quality, the quality on that is amazing. How many people work on that thing?
Well, Jack Kincaid, he's the producer, right? So he does all the production work, and then I think there's probably about 8 or 9 of us in the cast on that, and I think we're in the 4th season of that now. We've all submitted our lines for that. So he takes recordings from all of his cast, and then he kind of pieces that all together, layers in the sound, layers in the music. It's unbelievable the amount of work that he puts into it. But I think it certainly shows he's brilliant when it comes to that stuff. And so I've been doing that for years now. I started off the first season, and I mean, if you get some time on your hands, you should start from the beginning, and it's a great story. Has some really neat arcs in it, and definitely you can't jump in and say at episode 306, right? You got to start at 101, and be committed for the whole journey.
Yeah, and it's basically a cyberpunk tale, right? Maybe a little more future than cyberpunk, or
a little more like cyberpunk meets X-Files meets CIS.
Okay.
Ooh,
all right, that's cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. The
where can we go to find that? Where if somebody wanted to start listening to that?
So the website, I believe, is edictzero.wordpress.com.
And is that Edict with the number 0?
With the number 0. Yeah. And you know what? I'll tell you what, after this interview, I will send you guys the link so you can get it in the show notes so people can go check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's good. Now, do you record with a group of people, or do you record are you giving your lines and then you record them separately and send them to the?
Yeah. So I do my lines and then I send those in separately. Mm-hmm.
And he gets everybody sounding like they're in the same room. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I mean, your recording equipment is going to be different than say mine would be.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes
I'm using a Yeti Pro, but you probably have a nice music, a nice.
Yeah, well, I use Audio Technica AT2020 condenser for recording that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So, but what my point is that your sound would be different than mine. We'd both be good, but they'd be different. And
he might be a great guest for this show.
Who does the editing for that?
I mean, Jack. His name is Jack Kincaid. He does all the production on it. Yeah. Wow. And this last season, I provided some music as well, which was fun to do, and I probably will do the same for this season.
Cool. Well. So before, and we're gonna talk about your music some, but first, you indicated you want to talk. You have a new novel coming out.
Yeah, so it's yet to be titled. I would say I'm a solid, almost about 40K into it now. Started it in the late fall. Unfortunately, I've had to kind of slow things down a little bit as I've launched a couple new musical endeavors. But science fiction, little horror element to it as always. Nothing super overt. But yeah, it's I've been digging writing it. It's about to kind of sum it up as far as what I know about the book so far. This will sound a little BSG-esque. I'm fascinated with this migrant fleet concept, right? So what would it take, one, to make humanity feel like they couldn't settle down and that they always were on the run from something? So how does that affect the culture? And then so that's kind of the main theme. But then it's about the individuals, the protagonist and a couple of the other side characters, really taking a long, hard look at what are we running from? Why are we running? They're telling us what we're running from, but no one's really experienced this. And then it's kind of all around that without giving too much away. But
Okay.
then you got the corruption thing, you've got the gangsters thing, there's all sorts of fun stuff going on. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So the goal is, I hope to finish the draft of that by the end of the spring. Start recording it over the summer, and then probably launch the actual podcast next fall.
All right, awesome. You have to come back on and pimp it a little bit. Even if you only stop in for about a few minutes,
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
man, absolutely, definitely.
So we got our chat room. We got somebody in there, and he says he was asking. So he's a gamer. He says, as a game master, he says I have to create NPCs, non-player characters. Is there a method on how you make non-main characters or characters in your book? Like, do you have a method on how you make your characters?
Well, yeah, it's more of a mindset. There might be a character who may have only 3 or 4 lines, but everyone plays a role. And in coloring the story or coloring the scene,
right?
And I at least try to spend a few minutes getting to know even a minor character, and everyone has a backstory, and I think that keeping that as a mindset will make the interactions with this non-player character or the secondary character seem more genuine. And certainly it will better inform how my main characters will be interacting with that sort of that minor character, if that makes any sense. So I don't write them off as less important because they're only in there for a heartbeat. I think there still needs to be some consideration about what motivates this minor character and what is their backstory, even if it's something that you spend a minute and a half thinking about.
I have a question.
Just don't stick someone in there for the sake of you have to have someone that is handing out a drink to someone. Just don't just stick someone there for that reason alone. But think a little bit more about why are they who they are.
Right. This is Randy, who still lives in his basement, but he comes to work because he's trying to make a better life for himself. Boom, that's the character, and then you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there have been more than one occasion where a character like that has taken on a bigger role, maybe later on in the story, maybe in a follow-up story, but it's always good to bank that stuff too.
All right, cool, fantastic. So Mike, did you have something?
Yes, I did.
You were gonna say?
Yeah, I have a question. Have you ever had a character that you developed in a book that turned out to be way more popular than you would have anticipated? Or have you tried to, in contrast, have you tried to develop a character where you were like, oh man, I like him. This guy is going to be really awesome, and then no one really took to him?
It's been more the opposite, where I've had a few characters that I didn't think would be as immensely popular as they were. The ship in Crescent has a personality of its own, and people loved. Bean, who's this guy's salvage vessel, I didn't expect him to be so hugely popular. There are a few other minor characters that people just loved, or loved or hated. So, hate it, but they loved them in that respect. So I always found that really, really interesting. But at the same time, as what we were talking about a minute ago, I think even it's even if it's a character that you don't think it is 100% pivotal, it still makes sense to invest thought into them, because someone will probably find something they relate to in that character, and that's going to overall make your story more powerful.
That's cool. Fantastic. So, so did you want to read just a tiny bit from something? Did you have something maybe?
Yeah. Let me check on my. I've got it says about 30% battery remaining, because I'm on a backup machine here. So if I start chiming, I'm going to let you guys know. So okay. I am going to read a portion of the prologue to Crescent.
Okay.
Okay. It's about a page.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay, you give me a when you've had enough. All right. It's probably been about 6 or 7 years since I've read this, so this is going to be fun for me.
Okay.
Can you read it like a 4-year-old? No, I'm just kidding.
No, stop.
All right. L deck was quiet. The residential level had been abandoned for nearly a month after a water line busted in the worst possible way. L had been completely submerged. And it happened in the middle of the night, and as a result, a lot of people had died there. L was drained now, but it would be months before people were allowed to live there again. The result was a ghost town. Will looked around at the dark, gaping doors and abandoned apartments and shuddered. The place felt like a morgue. A week ago, Will and Brian had snuck down there to see if they could find any salvageable items in the empty apartments. Will had hated the idea, but Brian had a knack for being persuasive. Will glanced at one of the open apartment doors. Starlight filtered in through a grimy window and illuminated a child's stuffed animal coated in black mildew. The two boys wandered up and down the dimly lit station corridors for hours. Brian was paying no heed to the abandoned homes this time, and Will was grateful. He felt dirty going through people's things, dead people's things at that. It just wasn't right. No, Brian was set on finding his supposed hatch, and that was just fine by Will. Are you sure you remember where this hatch is? Will said, hoping that Brian would say no, and they'd be able to get back to Main Street. There it is. Brian was pointing at a dark hole in the wall of the alley. The metal grating had been cast aside and lay in a pool of standing water. Will peered into the opening and could see nothing but darkness. He didn't want to go in there. There were probably a dozen rats the size of house cats crawling around. Geez, I don't know, man. We probably shouldn't do this. What if we get lost? Will shifted his weight from one foot to the other. What if we get lost? Brian mimicked. Geez, Will, grow a freaking set, will you? I already checked it out. It's a straight shot. Brian pulled a small black flashlight out of his pocket and clicked it on, shining it directly into Will's eyes. The boys squinted into the glare and grabbed the light, but Will was too slow, and Brian snatched it away. Laughing, Brian got onto his hands and knees and spared Will a final look before disappearing into the shadows. Suddenly, the vacant corridor felt very much like a crypt. And although Brian was being an asshole, Will didn't want to be alone. He took a deep breath and crawled after him. The narrow passage was damp and reeked of mold. The air was choking, and Will's nostrils burned. He could see the glow of Brian's flashlight bobbing up ahead and crawled as fast as he could to catch up. Will worried that he was too far to be in the tunnel and that he would get stuck. Will worried that he was too fat to be in the tunnel and that he would get stuck. But then the tunnel descended at a steep angle that made it difficult to keep traction. He was grateful for the extra padding then. Will came out to a large compartment. Brian's light disappeared, leaving it too dark to see. Will fumbled for his own flashlight. Clicked it on. Several hulking figures loomed in the center of the room. He heard Brian's laughter somewhere close by. Will focused the beam of his light on the things. They were only collector bots, old and rusted, covered in a thick layer of dust. The big, multi-limbed robots were probably from the station's original complement of worker bots. They looked scary, all rusty like that, but their power cells had run dead a long time ago. These collectors couldn't hurt him, but Will shivered all the same. There was an open panel at the far end of the room, and Brian's face appeared in the dark space. What are you waiting for? Come on, scaredy cat. Will ducked through the opening and came out into a wide causeway. A few ceiling panels glowed with a tawny light. Behind where the boys stood, the tunnel extended into alternating patches of weak light and complete darkness. Ahead of them, Will could make out a large door. Brian leaned against the bulkhead across from the hatch they had come through. The bulkhead looked like it had been sealed shut with a plasma caster, but the seams were bloated with brownish oxidized chrome. Brian tapped his foot with growing impatience. He gave Will the middle finger, turned, and ran into the shadows. Come on, man, the slim boy called over his shoulder. You gotta see this. Will caught up to Brian toward the end of the corridor. The tunnel terminated at a massive black door. On it was painted a crude red X. Written across the door in big yellow letters read, Authorized personnel only, no access. Holy shit, Will gasped. Is this the vault, Will? The freaking vault. Can you believe it? I found the vault. Yeah, I thought I couldn't get any more awesome than I already was. I guess I was wrong. I didn't think it was real. For a moment, Will forgot he was scared. What do you think's behind it? Brian asked. Biological waste? Dead things? They closed this part of the station for a reason. Brian approached the door and reached out a hand to touch it. Don't do that! What if there's an alarm or something? Will took a step forward. Oh, give me a break. This place probably isn't even on the grid. I mean, it's not even supposed to be here. The air seemed to grow cooler. Will glanced up, expecting to see an air vent above his head, but there was only a sputtering light panel. Brian, let's go. I don't like it here. The chill had reminded Will of his fear. A rat squealed in the shadows. Want to run home to Mommy? Go run home then. I'm going to touch it, Brian said and smirked. No, Brian, come on. This isn't cool. Let's go, Will protested. Brian shook his head and placed his hand on the door. He recoiled. Wow, this thing is ice cold. Happy now? You touched it. Can we please go? Will turned to leave. A low, groaning sound made him stop in his tracks. His breath caught in his throat. Did you hear that? Brian said. He didn't sound so brave anymore. Yeah, I heard it. Let's go, Will said. He suddenly had to pee really bad. Wait, Brian paused. There it is again. Shit, do you see that? Will turned back to the big door. A growing shadow seeped out from around its girth now, devouring the meager light. Brian was staring at it as it grew, his jaw agape. Will took another step back, and the liquid darkness twisted toward Brian, growing and reaching like charcoal tentacles. Brian! Will shouted, but Will didn't move. He stood transfixed. Shadows wrapped around him, an ethereal shroud of sable. Brian's form seemed to go fuzzy, out of focus for an instant. Then Brian finally moved. He turned his head at a sick angle and emitted a choked scream before the shadows completely enveloped him, cutting off the sounds.
And hey,
Will, yeah.
Let's leave him with that. That's good.
All right, man. All right, sweet.
That's a good cut point.
Hey,
Yeah,
you know what I learned?
What's that?
Will is Brian's Duff.
Right.
Yes. That's right.
And also, I don't want you to run out of juice before we have a chance to talk about Gravity Lens. Let's do that real quick. So you got your band Gravity Lens. This is awesome.
Yeah, man. Gravity Lens. It's just for the most part myself and my buddy Gio, who plays guitars. We took 9 Inch Nails and Radiohead and maybe a little Depeche Mode and kind of crammed those bands together, and they had a love child. The result would be Gravity Lens and maybe a little Bauhaus. So it's very dark. Lots of fun sounds. It's been a blast. It's music I've wanted to make for pretty much my whole musical journey. Just didn't have the tools or know how to do it. Last year I invested in a new rig and spent a lot of time getting to learn how to use these devices, and this is the end result. It's extremely satisfying project, and we're working on a EP right now. We took some time off of shows to do that recording, and we're going to hit it again probably in the spring and start playing in support of this record once we release it.
All right, so like through the DC, Maryland, Delaware, the Mar-Delva area.
Yes,
Delmarva. Yes,
Delmarva. Sorry.
And probably at some point. Yes, and then we'll probably head up to New York and Boston at some point as well in the next 6 months.
Cool. All right. Well, so Mike, do you have? Can you cue that now? Phil, we'll hear it. It won't sound as good, but the stream goes directly from Mike's computer to the guests, so they'll hear it They'll hear it better than we do.
Hopefully,
okay.
If all goes
Mike,
well.
It's only about a 40-second clip.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's a clip. Mm-hmm.
All right, that was cool. That's an awesome clip.
Tasty little clip, yeah.
And that's a song "She Won't Break," and currently they can hear it on SoundCloud, right?
Yep. I can look this up there. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So go with that's Gravity Lens, right?
That's right, Gravity Lens. Yes.
GLDC, and you can find you guys on SoundCloud. And
that's
I
right.
I like it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a fun project. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Cool. And that you said that will be you have something that people can buy soon.
Yeah, so probably the next 3 or 4 months we should have this EP done and in the can and available for purchase.
Awesome. All right, Phil. Well, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate having you on the show.
It's been great.
And everybody go to www.philrossi. That's philrossi.net. You can also go to www.afterlifeproductions.com, which is your new thing that you're launching, right?
That's right. Yep. The production and creative services.
Sweet. So if you want to hire Phil for some sound or voice work, right?
Yep, that's where to find me. Yeah.
Excellent.
And we will drop it. We will drop it in the show notes as well. But I found it on WordPress. It is edict edict.zero.wordpress.com. If you are interested in the Edict Zero, I guess what is it?
Audio drama.
Yeah. So okay.
And I went into my podcatcher and just typed that in, and it came right up. It was like it didn't have any problems finding it.
Yeah, it's out there, and it's worth checking out. Absolutely.
Go
awesome.
Check it out.
So Phil, will we see you at Balticon?
I'm trying to make an appearance, so you might see me there one of the days. Yep.
All right,
definitely,
fantastic.
You should be there because the MythWits may be actually doing a nighttime, evening talk show with some of the guests.
We're trying to work it out with them.
Trying to work it out. We're in the works.
They're not used to this kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it'd be cool to pull that off. I think that'd be awesome. I don't know that we've, at least in the new media track, haven't seen anything like this format on Balticon. So make it happen.
Yeah, we're trying to do that. We're going to be the Johnny Carson of Balticon. Oh,
I like it. I like it.
All right, Phil. Well, we're going to let you go. I know we've hit your time limit, so that's cool. Mike and I we're gonna do a little talk after this. So we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for having me out, guys, and we'll do this again.
Awesome.
Care,
awesome.
Phil.
Thanks for coming on the show.
All right. Cheers,
All right,
guys.
Phil. See you later.
Later.
Man, Phil's a good guest. I like Phil.
Phil, I like him.
Phil Connors. I tried to get him on before. I've tried to get him on a couple times, but
Yeah.
he's got the he had the Crescent Station email address, and that's where I found it. And I was trying to get in touch with him. He finally emailed me back. He's like, "Dude, I never checked this email. Try this one." And he's like, "I'd love to come on." So that's cool. That's cool.
Awesome.
Did you know he's like I was not stalking him. I'm friends with T Morris, and I see T Morris posts, and turns out that the two of them are real good buddies.
I kind of knew that. I remember meeting Phil Rossi at Dragon Con. I think it was my first Dragon Con.
Yeah.
I think. I want to say that. Or was it my first Balticon? It could have been my first Balticon.
No, Balticon, because I don't think he's.
Okay.
I've never seen him at Dragon Con.
Okay. So
Okay. All right, pay way. All right, so we want to do the thing that we talked about.
I say we do. My designated thin, handsome fellow.
Not all that. Not that thin. All right, so everybody, if you're listening to the show,
well, first let's do it. What are you geeking on?
All
First,
right.
let's do it general.
Okay, all right.
What are you geeking
That's What am I geeking on? Okay, so I'm gonna go like nerd. I'm nerding on this, okay? Because I think this falls under the nerd category. Because this isn't geek. This is nerd. Wait a minute, hold on. I gotta pull it up because I gotta get the name right. Sorry, give me 1 second here. It's audiobook. So I got this audiobook called Foundation, and it's the history of the United Kingdom or England, I guess. From its earliest days, like even pre-Stonehenge, until what they call the Tudors, which is I think around the 1400s. It's basically a history book. I really like it. I like the content. I'm not digging on the reader. The reader sounds like a fucking robot. He's like, and in this age and blah blah blah, and on this day, the guys and they did the thing, and then Stonehenge was blah blah blah, and I'm just like, oh wait, okay.
That's always good.
The information is really fucking cool. Like I'm learning tons of stuff about England. Like, I mean, they were essentially up until the Romans kind of invaded. They were fucking like Native Americans. I mean, they were tribes. They were like the Picts. Like they were fucking like, you know, I think they had maybe they had some metal. So I think they were in their Bronze Age, right? When the Romans came in, but they were essentially, yeah. Okay. All right. That's what, never mind. I'm done. I know. I tell a very interesting story. I find it interesting.
You could read that book just as good as that guy.
Yeah. Hey, am I telling this story? It's really cool, Mike. They had bronze. Did you know that bronze is a mixture of copper and tin?
Hey, Pete.
What?
Do you know what a hurdy-gurdy is?
Oh, shit. That's a hurdy-gurdy?
That's a hurdy-gurdy, buddy.
All right.
Sorry,
so
I had to reach into the bag.
If you saw the show last week, the hurdy. Oh god, you got to listen to last week, the Total Con episode. We talk about the hurdy-gurdy, why it's relevant to this show.
Yeah, it's near and dear to our hearts. I would never wanted.
So David said Tudor was King Henry VII. Yeah, we hadn't gotten that far in the book yet, so I don't know. But oh wow, that's later than I thought. Okay.
Henry VIII, I am.
It's seventh. No, it's seventh. It's seventh.
Whatever.
It's the father of Henry VIII. Henry VIII Sr.
Oh, God. Anything else?
No. Sorry. Thanks, David.
You sure? That's
So what are you geeking on, Mike? Besides hurdy-gurdies?
I'm geeking on some lung cheese, and boy, I got plenty to go around. All right, so Pete, I know you would have rather. You almost went like wifey on me at Total Con, and I know this, but like I cannot stop playing the Marvel Contest of Champions on my phone.
Oh my God.
I can't stop playing.
I know, motherfucker's in his bed. Like we're hanging out at the con. He's laying in his bed. Beep, 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 beep. We're in the fucking car. It's like I have to stop this long enough to go smoke a cigarette and then come back and play some more of it.
Shut up. So
till he got the lungitis.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you for that. So anyway, I just can't stop playing that. If you play it, please. I've started an alliance. I probably shouldn't have. I should have looked for someone else's stronger alliance, but I need alliance members badly. Find me. I am Mac Jiggles, as I am on any game. MacJiggles, and the alliance is the Night Attack, and it's the LL and 77. So anyway, find me on it. Email me, whatever. And I think that's basically it. I can't stop playing that. What else? I've been watching. I'm getting back into watching The Flash. You know what, Pete? Really quickly, as an aside, I know we've talked about this before on our show, but the more I think about this, and especially with The Flash, I kind of feel like comics, especially just all comics, like Marvel, okay? It is the male equivalent to the female soap opera, and I can't. It's ever since I've been thinking about that, it's been kind of bugging me because instead of like what,
Mike,
what,
women read comics too, right?
No. You know what? I don't need you to get all fucking, feminist and all that shit on me.
I'm not getting feminist. I'm just saying.
I'm just doing a comparison and contrasting, okay? Comparison and contrasting on the fact that it's like, dun dun dun. I thought that this, I thought that so and so was dead. No, you see, they existed in this time, and then on this time.
No, I got you.
But they were.
What you're saying is that the comic books are basically soap operas.
I believe that's, if we roll back, I believe I said exactly that.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you don't even have to say the male or female. You could just say, say.
You know what? You know what? Stick your cock in your mussy, okay?
Hey, all right. You know what? I want you to go up against Allegra in comic trivia.
Oh no! No!
Right,
I suck.
Right, yep.
I suck at comic trivia. I'm comic friendly.
She'll kick your ass.
Yeah, I am what is considered comic friendly. I enjoy comics. I support comics. I love comics. I just have I would never read the Philly motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
I gotcha. I'm just busting balls. All right. So
now,
speaking of comics, all right, folks, if you ain't seen Deadpool yet, Mike and I are gonna have a moment. So
we're gonna spoil the shit out of it.
Right. This is the end of the show anyway. So we're gonna talk for a few more minutes. If you haven't seen Deadpool yet, just stop listening to the fucking show or stop watching. We'll talk to you all next time. Thank you for joining us. But if you have seen it and you want to hear our blah, 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 blah about it, stick around because we're going to talk for a minute.
Yes. If you have seen it, if you haven't seen it,
I can't hear you. You'll have to speak into the microphone.
But if you haven't seen it,
you will never win.
Okay. All right, Mr. Soundboard. So if I were drunk and we were talking about this, would I say, if you haven't seen it, you missed it?
Yes, exactly. If you haven't seen Deadpool, you missed it.
Right. So Deadpool.
which is according to Ben Gerber, he says that should now be the MythWits tagline. MythWits, if you haven't seen it, you missed it.
The caption with the quotation disclaimer, Captain Obvious. So I made a bold claim. I said that that Deadpool is the best Marvel movie to date.
And I now, sir, support that claim.
Right. And it's, I say that because it's just, it was fun. It was fun and it was funny. No, it was fun. It was funny as fuck. And it wasn't like a comedy. Like it wasn't like yuck jokes. It was funny just because it was so organic. It was natural. Like it just happened naturally.
Yes. And all right. So I said this before the show. I think it wraps it up quite nicely in a bow. I'm going to tell, and I'll say it now. They got a win. They knocked it out of the park. Now, that being said, it is what they have been able to accomplish is the equivalent to Kirk beating the Kobayashi Maru. Right. It only was successful once. So please, Fox, please, Marvel, do not think that you have to put dick jokes in every Marvel movie.
Yeah. Don't try to cash in on this.
Yeah, just please don't.
It works for Deadpool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right? It's not going to work for like Avengers. Like the Avengers aren't Deadpool. It's a whole different thing. Don't try to fucking be that.
Right.
But goddamn, so fucking funny when he like. I think one of the funniest scenes was just out of nowhere, where he fucking lands on top of that dude, right?
Teabag.
And his fucking balls are in a dude's face, right? And it's not like he was trying to do that. It's just kind of where he wound up in the fight. And he goes, teabag.
Yeah, and you're right. When you said it to me, you would have missed it. I see where you were saying, like, you could have easily missed that, but that was funny. You know what? You know what? Again, I told you I do not know much about the comics, and also I don't know how true it stays to Deadpool comics or whatever.
I don't know either. I never read a fucking Deadpool comic in my life.
I loved how, like, to me, it was a surprise that when you basically when he met his girlfriend, or his wife, and you have no idea from the trailers that she's like a stripper and like a prostitute or whatever. You know what I mean?
Whatever
you think she's just so straight-laced. They have her seem so, and it's like such a holistic relationship. And I just love how they're so sick together. You know what I mean? Like they fit like a glove because they're just twisted, you know? Right. And that was kind of awesome. I loved how they kind of hid that. It was a pleasant surprise.
You know, and our boy Jay, he was like, I give it a B. Yeah. I was like, a B? A B? What the fuck? How's that a B? And he's like, and his rationale was like, it was just a big, it was Ryan Reynolds' big fuck you to everybody that screwed him over. I'm like, what?
Well, good. Yes, good. Because he got screwed over.
Well, yeah, but he cracked some jokes about it, right? And that's fine.
What, like two, maybe three? That was it.
Right. But it wasn't like, oh yeah, this is Ryan Reynolds, big, big F you to everybody. No, it was the movie he wanted to make.
Right. And you know what? After going back and seeing like what the suit was, like if you go back and you see what Green Lantern's suit was with the green and the animated, yeah, he deserved it. He earned that because he had to go through a whole movie wearing that animated costume.
But it was just funny because it's breaking the fourth wall. That's what Deadpool does. That's part of his shtick. That's part of the funny of the character.
Yep.
And then the X-Men stuff was good. But again, let's go back to our boy Jay, because it's fun to pick a critic that we know. Mm-hmm. So Jay goes, he's like, well, they got the one thing they did do right in that movie is they got the X-Men right. No, they have two X-Men. One of them's not even really an X-Men. It's X-Men they fucking made up for the movie. Okay, they got Colossus right. Okay, I'll give them that. They did. That's the first time. Yeah, they
finally got Colossus. Finally looked good, and he's so wholesome and
right. No, he was the Colossus from the comics. Very good job. Very good.
Yeah,
but that wasn't the fucking X-Men.
Right. And I love how even with Deadpool's like, knock, knock, knock. Hey, where's all the other X-Men? What is this, all they could afford to put in the movie?
Right. It's also like, yes. And then, and the fact that he had all the fucking crude stuff, like, he wants to jerk off with the little hand.
Yes.
See, maybe that's why the movie resonates with you and I so much, is because
we're sick fucks.
he's picking the 12-year-old on us and going, "Hey guys, this is for you.
Yes.
This is for all my 12-year-old friends." And Mike and I are like, "Yay, we're 12."
And the fact that he is roommates with a blind black woman who's addicted to cocaine. And he leaves to go out on the fight. If I don't come back, just so you know, there's a pound of cocaine hidden somewhere in the apartment. Right. They could not have done him better. I swear. I don't know, Jay. I mean, you need to get off. You need to drive down from your puritanical Maine, roots and just, let go and let Deadpool.
So I don't know if you know this, Mike, but the scene with the guns, like you got all these more guns, we need all the guns, right?
Yeah.
And he fucking leaves them in the cab. You know why that was?
Why was that? I was kind of wondering that. Why?
Okay, so I'm gonna break he could have broke the fourth wall here, but it's funny that he didn't. So that was supposed to be a big shootout scene. They were supposed to use those guns, but they ran into budgetary constraints.
So they didn't have the money for the scene, so they were just like, we've already shot that. Have them leave in the cab.
Right.
And I love the fact that they had their guns, right. And I love how he rips his underwear out. Like, that's how he gets their attention. He's like, don't look. And he's like ripping his underwear out of his fucking costume. And he takes the time to find a stick and he ties it. Right. Ding, 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 ding. Wait.
Right.
Ceasefire! That was hysterical.
So retarded. He's like functionally retarded character, which I love. I love it. But I, so there was an article that said, Deadpool could have been a different movie if they'd have had more money. And I'm like, no, that's what made it good. Oh, yeah. I think I have to say there's too many movies in Hollywood. They get too much fucking money and it ruins the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Great shit comes out of that innovation that you have to do.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, how are we going to make this work? Well, let's do this. Because you get that. The reason why that's good, my theory on why that's good is because the movie takes an unexpected path. It has to. Because the expected path would be the one you'd pay for. Right? It's like, oh, well, this is what would happen naturally. So we need the money to do this scene. We don't have the money. Well, fuck, what are we going to do? Okay, well, this happens. And it's like, and that becomes more enjoyable because it's like, well, shit, they took a fucking totally. I didn't think they were going to do that.
Real life, and it kind of it brings some grit to it that wouldn't have been there if they just had the money to map out a golden brick road or yellow brick, whatever.
So yeah, I thought it was fucking awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Yep, and you did stay for the end teaser trailer, right?
The teaser just this low fucking budget. It's awesome.
Yeah. What did you think? There was going to be some, coming out in a towel.
Right. What are you doing?
No. Oh, and you know what? I dare to say that I will make this this bet right now that every theater that played Deadpool was cleaner in the end than any other theater because he was like, and don't be a douche. Don't be that douche move where you leave your trash laying around. Go throw it away. The fact that he just said that, I guarantee you were like, I have to throw my shit away. Deadpool said I had to throw my shit away.
So I got some bad news for you.
And time out. One more thing is that I've heard some controversy of people saying, I don't know why they had to animate his face. They did basically they put some they had I forgot what those things are called, but they were able to put some animation points on his face to give him more under the mask, to give him more emotion. And I think that was fucking amazing. First of all, I don't know why anyone would be against that, but if you are, get over it. I didn't even know
it was subtle enough. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, exactly.
If I go back and watch it now, I'll probably notice it. But yeah, it probably added to the feel of the movie, even though, but it was subtle enough that it didn't stand out. It didn't take me out of the movie. Right.
If he's in the mask, you would know that he, they actually, it's CG where his eyebrows go, furrow and shit like that.
I have to look at that again. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So the bad news, right?
All right.
So you got Superman versus Batman coming out, right?
I heard it's been tanking.
Is it out yet?
I don't know. Or someone's telling me it's getting bad early reviews or some shit. I don't know.
Okay.
But who I heard that from, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, the bad news is that they're going on the DVD version. There's going to be an R version on there that you can. They're gonna put an R version on the DVD.
Oh God.
Because Deadpool, and they're like talking about all these other properties. They're like, oh yeah, we should do R. You know, it's like you fucking people. I hate Suits. I really do. I fucking hate Suits because there's like, oh, you can't. You know, prior to Deadpool, you can't do R. That's crazy. Yeah. Crazy people with their R. Oh, R works. We should do R. What are you doing? It's crazy. Shouldn't. You know, you got to do R. It's like, you fucking dicks. Just, you know what? Stop worrying about what the fuck is going to make you the most number of dollars and make good goddamn movies. The money will follow. You know what I mean? Just make a good movie. Make a good movie. Make the movie you want to make. Make it good. So the rest of us can have something we can fucking enjoy instead of this cookie cutter shit they keep putting out. And we have to wait for the Daisy in the Field. Yeah, that is, you know, a Quentin Tarantino movie, or you know, because Quentin will tell the studio, "Fuck you, I'm gonna make the movie I want to make," right?
Right. Or I won't make it.
What's that? Or
I won't make it.
Right. So you know, we gotta wait like every couple of years for a movie like Deadpool to come along, you know, and we were lucky, man, because we got Mad Max, and then we got Deadpool, and you know, and Hateful Eight. That's a good year. This past year has been pretty good for movies, but a lot of fucking cookie cutter turds too.
And I will say, you know, Marvel has saved themselves right when you're about to put the, you know, I have this stamp that I've been saving, and it's Mick Marvel, right? And it's like, you're going to give it the Mick Marvel stamp, you know, give that movie, oh, that's a Mick Marvel stamp. And, you know, just when you're about to stamp it on something, you know, you get like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, oh, they don't, that doesn't get the Mick Marvel stamp.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Guardians was good.
Yeah, Guardians was good. Yeah, you know, a lot of the Avengers is getting McMarvel stamps, a lot of, you know, that kind of stuff. But, you know, God, at the same time, it's just such good eye candy. You know, it's like, I don't care.
Oh, I know. No, I don't hate those movies. I don't. They just don't stand out a whole lot. Like,
like this.
But I gotta tell you, the TV shows, man, fucking Netflix has been killing it, man. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, both really good.
Oh, can't wait. Cannot wait for Daredevil to come out. And I think we have to wait until like the last fucking episode again until they give us the Punisher. It's like, ah,
no, they won't do that.
And what is it? Elektra? Is that who it is? They bring it into?
Yeah. You know what? I got soured on Elektra because of the fucking movie, but it'll probably be better. They'll probably do a better job.
Of course,
they have to. They have to do a better job.
Hello. I think they've shown that from a little show called Daredevil.
Right? Yeah, I know. It should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I watched the first 2 episodes of The Flash, which have just, like I said, when I originally started this, it's just been like, oh my God, it's so bad. It's so good, but it's just like, oh, it's just a soap opera, you know?
Well, you know, Daredevil was getting like that. I mean, it's good. It's a really, really great show, but it has its soap opera-ishness to it.
Yeah. I'm not even talking about soap opera for some, you know, there's soap opera tropes, you know what I mean? That you can definitely see in both. You know, the only thing you don't see very much, and again, though you do, is, you know, like with the pregnancy, and it's not your baby, it was this baby, and that's why you have the mutant ability, and you know, you could still see that around. And,
right. But you're right. The Flash, I'm sure the Flash is worse because Netflix has been doing a better job of having really good writers, whereas what's the Flash on, like CBS or something?
It's CW, but there, you know, you would be surprised. You know, if we took a poll from the 3 listeners, I'll bet you at least one did, and that's a lot for our 3 listeners. No, there's a good following for those shows, and I mean enough of it that, you know, they're putting out 2 more shows. They have the Suicide Squad coming out for their, you know, in their world, and there was something else that's coming out on the CW, I believe, too. So kind of looking.
Is it Aquaman?
No, it's not. No, fuck Aquaman. Goddamn fish man. I hate Aquaman. He's my
fishy fish.
Who? I think you can guess who mine is, but who was your least favorite superhero?
Wait, are you talking Marvel, DC?
I'm talking of all time because it's Aquaman for me.
Fuck, man, come on, that's hard. There's a fucking ton of them that suck. You know, I'm not a big fan of Superman.
Yeah, But I mean, one they've really tried to cram down your throat through the years, and it's just like, nope, not buying it.
All right, so a hero they've tried to make work that just fucking doesn't fly.
Aquaman.
I think Robin's a bit of a tool.
Maybe.
I never understood the whole Robin thing. Batman and Robin. Like, why is Batman the fucking Robin? Robin ain't no Robin. Robin's like a little kid. Like, come on.
Batman.
Shoot
Robin is Batman's, behind every good superhero is somebody pumping him up.
Wait a minute. So do you think Robin could play the trombone?
Oh my
He's a tromboner.
God, that is his superpower. What are you talking about? Through the suit, that motherfucker can play the trombone. But I digress. It is getting late. I think we got to call this one. I'm just saying.
All right, that's enough of that. Yeah, all right. Hour and 10 minutes. Let's roll it. Mike, if you are ready, we will roll the closing credits. Now, I don't hear the music, so you got to, I have to have some kind of thing.
Okay. How about this?
You've just enjoyed another awesome episode of the MythWits. A special thanks goes out to our guest, Phil Rossi. Join us for a live broadcast every week, Mondays at 9:30 Eastern Time, to catch the live show. Jump into the chat room and ask our guests questions, like our one guy, David, who asked questions. But David, thanks for the question.
Let's go, David. Let's go, David.
Jump. Blah. If you miss our live show, you can always catch the on-demand episodes and the podcast version on our website and on iTunes. That's right, motherfuckers. We got the iTunes things going finally.
Rolling.
You can find our website at mythwits.com, and you can visit us on Facebook, Twitter, and the YouTube. Do like, follow, subscribe thing wherever it's appropriate. Give us a bunch of stars and review, blah, blah, blah. MythWits is a Studio187.com production and is protected under a Creative Commons license. You can download and share it with whoever you like. Just don't change it and don't make money with it like we don't. Make sure, because we'll be jealous, because if you make money with it, we ain't making
Listen, they can make money on it. They just got to share it. I think.
Right. Okay. If you can figure out a way to make money with it and you want to split it with us, you got to. Yeah. Are you opening a can of worms? No, we can't do that.
60-40. 60. We get 60, they get 40.
Okay, fair enough. Make sure to check out Studio187.com for more cool stuff. And make sure to join our mailing list and get free stuff every month to find out about all the other cool things that we do. All right, that's it for me, Mike.
Mom, I don't know what the hell Pete thought he was saying. All right. You did not hear him say that I smoked.